revitalizing your soul through the inspired word of Ellen G. White, inspired by God. This is your daily manna coming to you from Eden's Nutritious Streets. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. For January 27th, 2025. This reading is taken from Helpful Living by Ellen G. White, Chapter 24, Hygiene. Hygiene of the home and the premises. Dwellings, if possible, should be built upon high and dry ground. If a house be built where water settles around it, remaining for a time and then drying away, poisonous, mesmerizes, and fever, sore throat, lung disease will be the result. If every family realized the beneficial result of thoroughly cleanliness, they would make special efforts to remove every impurity from their persons and from their houses. Many suffer decayed vegetable matter to remain about their premises. They are not awake to the influence of these things. There is constantly rising from the decay substances an effluvium that is poisoning the air. By inhaling the impure air, the blood is poisoned, the lungs become affected, and the whole system is diseased. Stubborn fevers and violent disease have prevailed in neighborhoods and towns that had formerly been considered healthy, and some have died, while others have been left with broken constitutions to be crippled with disease for life. In many instances, their own yard contained the agent of destruction, which sent forth deadly poison into the atmosphere to be inhaled by the family and the neighbor. Shade trees and shrubbery too close and dense around a house are unhealthful, for they prevent a free circulation of air and prevent the rays of the sun from shining through sufficiently. In consequence of this, a dampness gathers in the house. Especially in wet seasons, the sleeping rooms become damp, and those who sleep in the beds are troubled with rheumatism, neuralgia, and lung complaints, which generally end in consumption. Numerous shade trees cast off many leaves, which, if not immediately removed, decay and poison the atmosphere. A yard beautiful with scattering trees and some shrubbery at the proper distance from the house has a happy, cheerful influence upon the family, and if well taken care of, will prove no injury to health. Rooms that are not exposed to light and air become damp. Beds and bedding gather dampness, and the atmosphere in these rooms is poisonous because it has not been purified by light and air. Various diseases have been brought on by sleeping in these fashionable, health destroying apartments. Sleeping rooms, especially, should be well ventilated and the atmosphere made healthful by light and air. Blinds should be left open several hours each day, the curtains pulled aside, and the room thoroughly aired. Nothing should remain even for a short time, which would destroy the purity of the atmosphere. Every room in the house should be thoroughly ventilated every day, and in damp weather should be warmed by fires. Every room in your dwelling should be daily thrown open to the healthful rays of the sun, and the purifying air should be invited in. This will be a preventive of disease. If all would appreciate the sunshine and expose every article of clothing to its drying, purifying rays, mildew, and mold would be prevented. The confined air of unventilated rooms meets us with sickening odors of mildew and mold, and the impurities inhaled by its inmates. The emission from damp, moldy rooms and clothing are poisonous to the system. Many have expected that God would keep them from sickness merely because they have asked Him to do so. But God did not regard their prayers because their faith was not made perfect. by works. God will not work a miracle to keep those from sickness who have no care for themselves, but are continually violating the laws of health and make no efforts to prevent disease. I therefore beseech you to be hearers as well as doers of the Word of God and the inspirational pen of Ellen G. White. Be sure to listen tomorrow for another Daily Manna coming to you from Eden's Nutritious Street. Thank you for listening. That thou mayest